Time changes everything that we know once we notice it. We've noticed that during this time, we can't help but wait until everything is normal again. But wait, when was everything ever normal again? Again and again, start, stop, wait, keep going, go back, leave it, pick it up. Are we finished? Should we stop?
Welcome, everyone. This is Bob Devin Jones coming to you from a still somewhat quiet studio, but not for long, studio at 620. We're going to have these poets jar the floor with the world interrupted. That's sort of the theme, but when you get poets, they don't only encompass the theme, they are the theme. So they're going to jar the floor, and you know how it is when you're interrupted. You know, you start off making a 2-minute egg and suddenly becomes 10 minutes or 15 minutes. You just get another egg. So poets get another idea, and that's what they're going to share with you tonight, this afternoon, or whenever you're watching it. So thank you. It's nice to see you, and it will be even nicer when we're on the other side of this, PC, post-COVID, where we can really embrace.
The very planet we have been placed on has been interrupted from the start. Man-made cities with pollution rates peaking higher than Mount Everest, fossil fuel overkill, feeling the Earth's pulse, extracting its internal organs and pumping it into our 2020 Kias or running it into our 52-inch TVs. And if that wasn't unsettling enough, here's the definition of quarantine. A state, period, or place of isolation in which people or animals that have arrived from elsewhere or been exposed to infectious or contagious disease are placed. Now, this tactic may seem much more convincing when we're fumigating our sunrooms for bugs. Sure, that tactic is of a smaller scale. Now, when we're considered the bugs, things get weird, and it's not spring cleaning that's on our minds anymore. Trapped inside, nowhere to go, nothing to do. Where's everybody? I can't see my friends. I feel alone. Many of us have been caught in this slumber, hypnotizing ourselves into the denial that we aren't a product of our own hand. We can't help but go mad whenever we want to enjoy the ocean again and feel our toes in the sand. Anxiety runs through our veins when we are told to follow the circumstances in which we can't be together. My friends, you may be experiencing a forecast of gray skies and heavy showers, but did it ever cross your mind that it's you choosing the weather? Choosing whether or not you see the havoc created by our own will, choosing to compare the limitations to a communist society when we're the inhabitants of a government designed to kill. That we're all puppets within a ventriloquist dream separated by our president's arrogant comments or crumbling economy, yet storms shall never cease when COVID-19 interrupts the world, and you've chosen to see this as one big game, a monopoly. Pity the fool who thinks that this isn't a wake-up call for our God-given planet and our initial plan. We are so quick to judge the corrupt status of our society when we forget that the person sitting in the white oval seat is just a man. Netflix, a country that's on demand. We ask Siri more questions, feeling enticed, hearing our own command, picking up food items in a grocery store, but make sure you follow the arrow on the ground, 6 feet apart, speak behind a mask, no sound. Like, comment, subscribe to mutual fear. Don't let it get to the point where you can't hear. The world is crumbling. Now I'm worried if I might not be able to finish my career. Red table talk, binge eat till we find justice or justice finds us. Hashtag I thought 2020 was going to be my year. Lord, child, please come here. Do you ever think about how every actor you see on Netflix is going through the same? Every hand sanitizer, trying to disinfect every negative person, so much neglect, spreading doubt in full effect. What's the spec? It's all erect, wanna float away, bounce a check, risk it, stuck inside a phone screen while the world keeps spinning within orbit. If you would just look up. Families under one roof, no one is different. Let the death rate show you proof. We scroll down our Instagram feeds, scroll like it's our duty, scroll like it's our awareness within our control, scroll through the occurrences that rewrite our history, a scroll that serves our past and future. Then again, it was just a scroll until someone did something about it. Not paying attention to the very hands we cover with synthetic gloves, trying to shove our victimization, vaccination into a phone screen that plays tricks on us. Everyone knows it, but not everybody sees. Blinded with fear, you might not see where Jesus steers the wheel into a valley that is quiet, a peace so attainable you don't need to buy it. I'm sure your history class told you this is one for the books. Read a little bit more to find that we might actually be on the same page, so don't let them put you in a cage. Separate, but together, this is the underdog's perfect weather. Find the purity and health we so long forgot. I feel that it's no longer about being on top. And if you think that's crazy, find yourself to see if you can handle the heat from your very own kitchen. Speak light into places where people can only feel dark. This is a chance to make a difference in the world with your God-given spark. Because the last thing you want is a white-collar representative to control your peace because they've lost theirs. Take your spirituality higher than ever before. The divine creator has tested us with the greatest trial known to man. Yet every judge knows a crook sends a prayer before he commits to his greatest plan. Find time, even if it's so sublime to our nature, pacing at 1,000,000 miles an hour, thinking our non-essential job is our savior. Did it ever occur to you that this virus is saving us? As you ponder about what's real or not, think about how much more taboo it becomes when you've chosen to spend your days as a pawn in this virtual reality. We're being moved around when our feet should be on the ground, down to earth. That's how it's supposed to be. Stop asking the next cashier for change when you keep spending your cents on liquid intoxication our government deems as essential. Make something. Find something. Dedicate yourself now. This is the time to give that thing to the world, because we all know that the world that's interrupted might need a taste of its own medicine.
Media, radio, newspapers, wake up to a demise of the world. 78 days ago, my last day of normal. As they tell us to stop and freeze our lives, as we wait for the political criminals to tell us when we can be free to live. Someone has froze America. Corrupt media, runaway, truths covered up with half lies and half entertainment. 2 months go by and we are changed. They closed down America, wanting no questions asked, with too many uncertainties. Some of us will live differently, be different. Most of us were happy with our lives, as some have said. As media controls our emotions, it even guides our reactions. A world interrupted. How close we can't be to our friends. We woke up to a demise of a nation, but truly, it was a world at rock bottom. People, personalities were interrupted with hate, selfishness, and pride. As Memorial Day comes and goes, I can't help to think about the memorial of my old life. This virus has pulled off the covers, the blinds, showing the fakes. This virus is a warning for us to wake up about our lives. If you have been woke, then you already understand what's coming. A world interrupted. It has pushed most of your plans. Some of this has even wrecked our lives and our plans. We don't know who to believe. But it's funny that media, the core of everything, We are allowing people who are not concerned or care about the world be in charge of our lives, but to keep corrupting the world. People die every day of viruses and diseases, but a world where racism, hate, and globalists interrupts the world's business and behavior, and therefore our lives. Our economy dies while media lies that we are okay. Our lives cannot be normal once it has been tarnished with fear, dictated by political games, these scandals. Though this virus interrupted social lives, it also highlighted holes in our readiness, holes in our budgets, holes in our family bonds, holes in our love lives, and holes in our world that may not be bandaged. Think about mental health, poor people versus rich people, the elderly, minorities, how all this have changed everything and everyone. If we do not bind together to care for our own world and to care about each other and let the politics and bad media take their lives to the dirt and start interrupting America with scandals, we'll continue to have a world that's interrupted. Thank you.
One sunset at a time. Some quarantine this is. One sunrise at a time, another day in paradise. I walk the Gulf sands, circle Crescent Lake on my bicycle, meet for happy hour on my balcony, or in the courtyard below with friends. Stand in line for 10 minutes outside Trader Joe's under shade tarps, 6 feet apart, drinking bottled water handed out by cheerful, gloved, and masked staff. Once inside, corpulent cornucopias of food choices, vindaloo lamb, shrimp tiki masala, beckon from the Indian foods freezer. I stand in query. I take both. Oat milk, macadamia, cashew, coconut or soy, creamers for my coffee. Dark dipped chocolate pretzels, Belgian butter bars, fruit frenzy popsicles, raspberry, lemon, strawberry, all in one. Can't decide. I take all 3. These first world problems that I face. What to watch on Netflix. Not able to get my hair cut and styled. Which Zoom meeting to join. Who to have over for happy hour. Should I take a shower today? What's for lunch? What's for dinner? This is hardship. Lack of touch and hugs. Now that's a real problem. Touch deprivation. Thank God for Oscar, the Chihuahua. He comes over nights, Wednesdays, attaches to my body like a remora to a shark. His short butterscotch fur, so soothing to stroke, soft silky skin on belly and chest, dapples of pink on gray, his beauty marks. At night, he arranges his body upside down along my side, giving warmth, making comfort, leaning in, we breathe together, the same rhythm and blues. Telepathically, Oscar communes with the Vienna sausages in the refrigerator. He knows how many remain standing in the can. He knows where we are in the countdown from 7. He dreams of them through the night and thinks first of them at dawn. All the while, I see the body bags being whisked and wheeled from hospitals, the ventilators pumping away to keep life in those still trying. I watch Judy Woodruff's lips and neck tendons tighten as she delivers horrific story after story, night after night, from her living room, now the impromptu PBS NewsHour studio. I see, hear clips and fragments of a deranged president, a middle school boy somehow put in charge, moving through his world, a giant playpen, pressing and pushing buttons randomly, setting off explosions and chaos, dumping toxic loads as he goes, leaving them behind like dirty diapers demanding to be cleaned. One of the silver linings of being single in quarantine is being spared the feelings of being left out, being left behind, the jealousy and sadness when people would usually be taking off for spring and summer family reunions. I don't have to listen to grand plans about flying to meet the family in Italy, converging in Martha's Vineyard at the beach house, sailing to Maine to see the grandchildren. Nobody's going anywhere. Not on planes, not on trains, not on boats, not on buses. And that's just fine by me. I'm not planning, I'm not running, I'm not moving from my place. I'm not moving from my place. I'm not moving from my place. I'm staying right here, one sunset at a time.
Caution and carelessness took our freedom away. Outages everywhere. Routes and routines have changed. Out of control society is at home. No one is open. Sorry, go home. Attitudes have changed. Attention to detail have been the new norm. Viewers have upped the charts on TV ratings. Idiots who don't need to be out are out. Reasons to rethink our society all over again. Unacceptable this economy has become. Sadden our world as we once knew it is gone. We be reopening to a new society, a new way of living. Thank you.
COVID-19 hit, I thought a lot about the vulnerable population when people were forced to be quarantined, and I thought about people from low-income households and women in abusive relationships, and also people with a mental health history. I wrote this poem for a friend. I don't like to say mentally ill. I'll call her a psychiatric survivor. And she was struggling a lot before this quarantine went into effect. And so this poem is my attempt to provide for her some sort of love in the form of words to, if poetry could help people and help people who are really struggling, like this was my attempt to hold her in the form of a poem. All right. And it's called Sunshine Woman, a quarantine poem. I wear a bird in my hair. Its teeth fall out. That's the point. Too tiny to notice. Lake Angela, Sunshine Woman. This is for you, Sunshine Woman, and for all of you who are maybe struggling. I want to be quarantined with you in a city full of close signs, and we'll write on the balcony lines of poems that sometimes take off like magic carpet rides. You make even decaying things sound beautiful. Your blue cockroach collarbone tattoo shining in the sunlight. 2 glasses of red wine Sit on a small black circular table. We'll swirl, then sip, always the red, because you say it looks like blood, and that delights you. We'll drink until we lose the lake of our bodies. Look, I know we can't always stop the neon green light that follows you with a bag of your breath. But once our lips are good and stained, we can belt out the lyrics to a total eclipse of the heart, flinging our bodies to the mountaintop rhythm until your hunger is big enough that you'll eat a small bowl of ice cream, where you'll dig for all the chocolate pieces and laugh about it. When I can't find you, let it be because you're lying naked in the grass and smiling, because that's what you like to do. Listen, there's 1,000 ways to keep on dancing, and it's not nearly time to become a bird.
Dear human, your world has been interrupted. Stores, schools, big businesses, small businesses are closed. Fear has filled the streets, panic's in the air, coughing and sneezing, everyone just be aware. Be aware that your world has now been interrupted. No need for that dress, that makeup, your car, those fancy shoes. Nothing's on television but dread and bad news. Just stay home, be aware that those once beautiful walls are now perceived to be small prisons with open doors. No touching, no hugging, no friendly hellos. Now it's just chocolate, pizzas, and cookies and jello. Netflix binging, scroll, Insta, Facebook, TikTok, scroll till you can't scroll anymore. After days of fear, panic attacks, and feeling alone, human, your world has been interrupted. No alarms, no more snooze. You haven't slept in so long. You wake up when you choose. With a world that's interrupted, that doesn't seem like bad news. Now that you have rested and there's nothing to lose, now with fresh eyes, you notice the birds are still on the move. The sun is up and is followed by the moon. The clouds have a beauty that you never even knew. The green grass is so inviting, and the sounds of the windsong starts to smooth your once melancholy mood. Soon you realize the beauty of your earth and the irrelevance of the material things that you can no longer use, and the wasted happiness on dependency and illusions and what is and what isn't approved. And now they're just wasting away with your life and the planet that you're about to lose. Human, your world has been interrupted. But nevertheless, you have yourself, the setting of the sun and the rising of your moon.
I knew we'd be friends when you smashed that piñata with a hammer. Birthday girl gets all her blows in. Laughter erupting, confectionaries bursting, filling every crack of the stringed light outlined backyard with memories. I am the fox, whose telescope is transfixed on Orion's belt. But you are the moon, lady. And in case the world ever accuses us of mistaken identity, you have taught me how to sing through a scorched throat. Because if you pay attention through adversity, the world sends you many mothers. Like the woman who reminds you to zip up your jacket in the cold and the rain at a bus stop. Or you, the hammer-wielding woman, boasting pregnant belly, clad in dresses decorated with bold stripes. When I'm too tired to dance, you remind me it's okay to just use my legs for wading or walking. Sometimes slow and steady or treading water in place is fine. No wonder your favorite activity is one meant for recreation and survival. When women are told to reduce their size, vertical stripes are slimming. There you are, wearing horizontal bands resembling brushstrokes in the sky. Ethereal pink and orange clouds stretched against the sunset, Never apologize to the troposphere for being in the way. Every day I go toe-to-toe with beasts and still fear I'm not good enough. And I want to float. Not take up residence on the bottom of the sea. I want to feel the sun's rays tug at my rib cage, each golden thread a fisherman's line holding me on the surface where I can be drenched in holy vitamin D, relearning how to perceive a life more enriching to me beyond just being alive. This year you learned how to give life, accessorizing stretch marks and scars, cracks to let the light in. Celebrating the topography of skin, mapping out the largest organ, allowing more room to feel. This year you taught me to wear my stripes and proudly carry a hammer.
This poet know it won't be long before I'm gone, but the noise, I can calm it because I know it won't be from COVID. My body's at ease, but these face masks ain't helping me breathe. Watching these trees because it seems all I can do is take a breeze. But this ain't no walk in the park, because if I sneeze, people look down on me like I got a disease. That's that syndrome shit, see? Their minds been gone since birth. So when the planet Earth become dis-ease, they are the first. The first to go from something worse. Some things are worth dying for, like family, faith, and beliefs. Coronavirus relief ain't one of them. Now, I know that sounds bad, but I need you to hear me out because I ain't one of them. I'm just not that gullible. Tell me something and I take it at face value. I just don't run with it. The whole thing never sat well with me. And if you fail to see my views, then why are the numbers are always skewed against my kind? The New York Times says black people are dying. Most. The Washington Post read African Americans are occupying most beds. USA Today, headlines, dead, flatline. Why is coronavirus only attacking black lives? But let me rephrase before white media haze me for saying Black Lives Matter. And angry white women come at me saying he's lying. We're all dying. Right. Because eventually we'll all die. But unfortunately, we're not all dying at the hands of white mans I call opportunists who are happy to use this chance to kill another black man to further his movement, to introduce some new shit because it's in your nature to be intrusive or invasive. Because like a cancer cell, man, you're not native to this land. Let's face it, you're racist and we know it. You hate us and you don't hate showing it. So don't tell me about a virus killing us when we know you have never been able to grow on us.
Identity. Identity illusion. Identity confusion. Identity delusion. Identity diffusion. Similar versus assimilate. A moratorium state. Nationality. A dual reality. To be fractal is practical. Radical or rad. Good cop versus bad. Striving for happy, achieving sad, angry, and mad. Evolution versus revolution. Nuclear war versus nuclear families. Microwaves versus macrowaves. We are producing copious amounts of mechanical slaves, radio waves and radiation, mental penetration, fractal representations of states of the nations. And in the divided states of America, our recourse is alienation and misleading information, justification, crisis and war, discrimination, commodification of a generation lost in the equation. Invasion, persuasion, evasion. The Asian virus, crisis brought by ISIS. Gender versus sex, pro versus anti-inclusion, perpetual confusion. A tenuous interfusion of guises and disguises, as everyone realizes as we grasp for the familiar, we should all expect surprises. When it comes to the Republic,
The public merely surmises, based on illusions, confusion, delusion, identity. To leave versus to escape. To purpose versus to rape. To mistake the truth for a lie. Old age versus the youth are both effective perspectives. But the news outlets will set the standard, and the ramifications are a ticking threat. To fret with no reset, so defuse the diffusion. Inlet, restrictive governing rules, and other battle cries. Our prisons versus our schools, inclusion versus exclusion, a sovereign illusion, retaliation, exploitation, endless contemplation, regeneration of a nation, a national state of insecurity, a dirty slate to perpetuate man-made shade in a perpetually sunlit sky. We are in the throes of a wave that brings all-time lows that have reached a high. It is time to wave goodbye to corruption, abduction, destruction, disruption, and embrace the eruption. In a world made up of purposeful mistakes, we perform at high stakes, and he who awakes will be sent back to rest, failing the grade without being given the test. We are to choose between the best of two evils, resulting in upheavals of emotional deception, narcissistic erection, one man's death for another's resurrection, the illusion of perfection, a moral and ethical infection originating from fear. People care only by tier or classes, not by the masses, mainly sectored socioeconomic and political classes. People don't know how to merge without clashing and crashing, so they would rather purge. There is a fine line between giving up and holding on for too long. We live in the area between right and wrong, where things look nebulous, when lies become our truths. We seek truth, but it is often the lies we tell ourselves that shape our identities more than the truths we fail to see. There is no human nature, there is only human experience. Don't let the worst of times get the best of you. And don't let the best of times bring forth your worst efforts. For you understand that it has always been about the greater good, not the lesser evil, which results in an upheaval so that we can collectively address illusion, confusion, delusion, identity.
Good morning. Questioning the attraction of stylish desolation. Unwashed cars, broken and rusting in the New Mexican desert. Outside the Toltec falling into the breeze by the particle. Labyrinthian roots of a Florida pine gusted over in the hurricane gale. The sinuous clutch exposed. So in our last moments before they shut it all down, we headed for an outlying patch in Fort DeSoto. But the count between human and driftwood favors the bark. We crossed the channel to boaters jeering stay 6 feet apart, sardonic leers creeping in the furrows of their brows, the fumes of their diesel. We walked ashore enjoying the tessellation and the concentric shapes drawn by tide and radial, hearing the contrived joy bounding the speakers where beautiful people acted out a good time. If circumstances were different, if we weren't poor, if we weren't ugly, would our opulence look so contrived? I pray at my typewriter when the trauma gets so taut you can feel the elastic in your solar plexus. Each key loosens the strain, genuflecting with the carriage return lever. But today, I close my eyes. It's hard to write on the affinities when the emphatic slur, the froth in your mind, is fear, is more truthful verse. So writing a poem about anything else feels like lying, feels like smiling through a grimace. And we were made to tell it slant, so my pick and choose cosmology is so distorted, I'm not sure who I'm visualizing when I pray, grasping for what's familiar. I thought fate's accomplice, this emissary of what's to come, is choice, and these days we're forced with some jagged edge decisions. When my forehead gets heavy, when the pacing grows rhythmic, I'll know what I'll tell them when the judgment comes, when they ask me how I spent my time when we were all locked inside. I wrote shitty poetry. Shitty poetry. A modest wind rattles grass blades, shaking the lace-bark pine leaves. Outside my window where heat mirage billows as if someone has dripped oil in a kaleidoscopic streak over the street that will blister the barefooted. The cursor blinks against the white nexus, waiting to fill the space with words that have yet to exist. The Wi-Fi stretches thin like worn elastic over the many devices in the quiet suppression of a busy house that groans and aches as we move about finding ways to fill our time. We stand in the kitchen in the polychrome, festival posters pinned like insignia over the walls, broiling ovens with minced garlic coating the meal before dousing yucateca in every contour, so we can carry the exhilaration with us into our welcome bland years. Because if we strove for anything when we were wild, it was to become tame enough to make a difference in the vastness of this wide, torrid world. I tell you there's a leech in my skull, a tarpon in my sternum. You tell me there's a belted kingfisher on your arm, a barking spider in your hip, and that this menagerie has no cages, only steep inclines with dope views at the summit. Retrospect. And the world is spinning, and the world is cruel. Incidentally, we can rein in on one of those forces. But behind door number 1 is a mink coat, splashed with vermilion red, like carrion, splattered across a state road. And behind door number 2 is an acrylic painting of a pipe like a Gestalt advertisement. And our role models for love didn't believe in it either, so pushing through to another's ribcage takes the volition of sounds that were meant for music, but still raise the bone marrow for a waltz. Blinking away the phosphenes that graffiti the back of my eyelids the color of wisteria, as helicopter blades julienne the air atop the hospital next door, like some bird's twitter. Sheets and pillows rearranged in my listless churn, where I spent half the night snuffing you out from my dreams. Nowhere to be but in front of the keyboard. Heaviness felt most in my skull, so why can't I grip the sun lances the way I tinker conspiratorially into the deep night? Even with all the sorrow this world can contain, there's still a beacon of hope. In each proverbial reach, each planted sunflower, when the human within me recognizes the humanity within you, even when the physicality of the pat on the back is gone for the moment, the sentiment still lingers. Even as the touch fades away, now we all share commonality with the kingdom of the lost and the lonely. And we all need to be asked if we are doing okay, and reminded we're comrades in quarantine. Good night.